Nobody wants to admit this, but sometimes we play a role in why we fall victim to narcissistic abuse. It's not our fault that they chose to abuse or manipulate us. However, the truth is, many of us tend to ignore the red flags, which enables the narcissist more. We didn't know better until the pain taught us to protect ourselves. Today, we'll talk about the 7 ways narcissistic abuse victims avoid getting destroyed by narcissists. Are you ready for number 1? They stop falling for the sad story trap. Have you ever noticed how the narcissist's tears only show up right when you're about to walk away? That's the sad story trap, and you've probably fallen into it more times than you can count. It's when the narcissist suddenly plays the victim, spinning a tale of how everyone else hurt them, how they had a rough childhood, or how no one understands them. And you, with your big heart and empathy, end up comforting them instead of holding them accountable. However, one of the ways you start breaking free is by seeing that pattern for what it really is, a manipulation tactic. You learn not to get sucked into their sob stories anymore because you realize their pain doesn't excuse their toxic behavior. You're not cold for setting boundaries. You're just done being emotionally blackmailed. Their tears no longer shake you the way they used to, because now you see the timing and the truth behind them. Let's talk about number 2. They go low or no contact. Going low or no contact means cutting down the conversation with the narcissists, not feeding into their drama, and sometimes walking away completely. You realize that every call, every text, every run-in is just another opening for them to mess with your mind, guilt trip you, or reel you back in. So you take your power back by creating distance. It's not cruel, it's necessary. You're not trying to punish them. You're choosing yourself for once. And your silence is not loneliness. It's the sound of you healing. You stop explaining yourself because you finally understand they were never really listening. You stop chasing closure because peace is more important than getting the last word. And most of all, you stop waiting for them to change because now you're the one choosing to grow. You see that the real closure isn't something they give you. It's something you give yourself. Every quiet moment becomes a step toward freedom, not fear. And in that space, you finally start to feel like yourself again. Let's move on to number 3. They stop playing the fixer role. When did it become your job to fix someone who doesn't even want to change? That's the trap you've been stuck in, thinking if you just love harder, explain better, or stay patient enough, they'll finally treat you right. However, here's the truth. Narcissists don't want fixing. They want control. And the more you try to rescue them, the more you lose yourself. So, one powerful way you protect your sanity is by dropping that fixer role. You stop trying to solve problems that aren't yours, and you start focusing on healing yourself. You finally get that their chaos isn't your responsibility, and it never was. You realize that love isn't about sacrificing your peace to hold someone else together. You learn that real strength is walking away, even when your heart still cares. And most importantly, you give yourself permission to stop bleeding for someone who never even tried to heal. Holding on to someone who won't change only keeps you trapped. And letting go is the first step to freedom. Now, let's continue to number 4. They rebuild their support system. Do you remember when the narcissists slowly pushed everyone away until it was just you and them? That's not love. That's isolation. Narcissists love to cut you off from the people who actually care about you, because it makes you easier to control. However, one of the ways you start taking your life back is by rebuilding your support system. You reach out to friends you lost touch with. You connect with people who understand you. And maybe you even find a therapist or support group that gets what you've been through. Bit by bit, you create a circle that lifts you up instead of tearing you down. You stop suffering in silence, and you start surrounding yourself with voices that remind you you're not crazy, you're just healing. And as you reconnect, you realize how much you missed being seen, heard, and loved without strings attached. You begin to trust again, not just in others, but in your own ability to choose better for yourself. Most of all, you remember that real love never isolates. It includes, protects, and supports. You shouldn't miss number 5. They question the narrative. Narcissists are master storytellers, and they've spent so much time twisting the truth, blaming you, and making you doubt your own memory. However, one of the strongest things you do to prevent the narcissist from destroying you is you question their narrative. You start asking yourself, is that really what happened? Or did I actually do something wrong? Or was I just standing up for myself? You stop accepting their lies as facts, and you start trusting your gut again. That's not rebellion, it's reality checking. And that's how you begin breaking the spell. You begin to see the patterns, not just the moments. And it clicks. It was manipulation. You might even start writing things down or keeping a journal, just to remind yourself of what really happened. And slowly, you rebuild your confidence, one truth at a time. You realize your memories and feelings matter, even when they try to convince you otherwise. This new clarity becomes your shield, helping you stand strong against their twisted stories. Are you still up for number 6? They recognize love bombing as emotional spam. Narcissists use love bombing to trap you with flashy, over-the-top affection and compliments that feel amazing at first. But it's all a sneaky way to reel you in and control you. That moment you recognized this emotional spam for what it truly is, you started protecting yourself instead of getting sucked into the trap where you end up drained and broken. It's like deleting junk emails before they clutter your whole inbox. Recognizing love bombing keeps your heart's inbox clear and safe. You learn to slow things down, to question why someone is rushing so hard to get close. You remind yourself that real love builds over time. It doesn't explode overnight and demands instant devotion. And most importantly, you choose to wait for consistency, not just intensity. Now you finally know the difference between a spark meant to blind you and a flame meant to warm you. And that knowledge is power that keeps you safe. Finally, we're down to number 7. They normalize, saying no without guilt. Have you ever felt like saying no makes you a terrible person? If you've been under a narcissist's control, you've probably been guilt-tripped into always saying yes, even when it hurts you. To prevent the narcissist from destroying you, you become firm in saying no and stop explaining to people. It doesn't make you selfish or mean. It makes you strong and self-aware. Every time you say no to something that crosses your boundaries, you're saying yes to yourself. It might feel scary at first, but the more you do it, the more natural it feels, and the less power the narcissist has over you. You start realizing that people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries, not punish you for having them. You begin to feel safer in your own skin, trusting that you don't need approval to do what's right for you. And little by little, your no becomes a powerful act of self-respect. You've been through a lot, but the fact that you're here shows your strength. The most important thing to remember is that you're not alone, and you're not crazy. By setting boundaries, trusting your gut, and staying connected to people who truly care, you protect yourself from being pulled back in and getting destroyed. Healing takes time, but every small step matters. Keep choosing yourself. You deserve peace, not chaos.